Hello and welcome to my Johnny tutorial. So I'm making this video because Guilty Gear, Exerd, and Rev2 have both been announced to be receiving rollback netcode, which is great. Probably the greatest fighting game news I could have ever asked for in my life. And this game is very, very special to me, and this character in particular is extremely special to me. And I want more people to be open to playing him and trying him out because he's very rewarding, very fun, and there really is not a lot like him in fighting games in general, which I think is true for a lot of characters in this game specifically. They all feel extremely unique and different from each other, but Johnny in particular is really something else, and this character is an absolute beast. So, if you know anything about Johnny, you're probably familiar with his coins, which you can see in the bottom left above my meter. I'm in training mode, so I have infinite coins, but these are central to your game plan. Basically, coin as a projectile is extremely fast, so it doesn't do a lot of damage. As you can see his soul, it does like not even 5% of his health. But like I said, it's very fast, so as you can see, I'm FDing very quick after throwing it. It's active for quite a long time, and you can hit like all the way on the way down there even. It can OTG, and it can even anti-air. This is very, very useful, but you only have 8. So unlike in training mode, each time you throw one of these, you are out until the next round. Unless you use Treasure Hunt, which is a super that gives you coins back, and you have wasted combo into it, which we will talk about later when we get to his overdrives. But the purpose of coin is Johnny has a move, Mistfinder, which is core to his essential game plan. It's 2-1-4, and then you can do P, K, or S. Each one is different. So P is the fastest. Lowest recovery, covers a really, really good anti-air angle. If people are jumping in at you, this is great to just throw out. Then he has K, which is the mid-ranged one. Middle speed, middle range. It has the farthest reaching horizontal distance out of all of his Mistfinders. This is quite good. Combos off of stuff like Far Slash and I think 6H, yeah, of course. So this is really good if you're just doing like block strings. You can just kind of like space with this and throw it out. And then he has S, which is the slowest, but it's a low and it knocks down. And worth noting, what makes Mistfinder so incredible is that you can hold it. And while you're holding it, you can walk like this extremely slowly. You can also teleport dash, like this. And you can even do that in the air, but you can only do it once. So I'm mashing dash, and I only get 1 until I touch the ground again. But while you're holding it like this, if you hit H, you cancel and return to neutral extremely quickly, right? If I'm holding FD, you can see he's basically FDing immediately, which means that this has very minimal recovery. And when you hit a coin, Mistfinder becomes upgraded. So see, now it flashes, and when I move, it flashes again. So I can move really quickly to make it flash a whole bunch. I can teleport. And in the bottom left above the coins, it says level 2. You can see under my inputs. Mistfinder changes its properties every time you hit a coin until you use the move. So you hold onto it until you actually let it go. So for example, K Mistfinder now causes a ground roll, which means you can combo off of it. And same thing for S, it now launches them up, so you can get a mid-screen combo. Right, if I don't drop it, but you get the idea. And P Mistfinder as well will wall bounce them, which allows you to get a combo. And this also goes up to level 3, so you can upgrade once, and then again, see now it's level 3. The flash is much bigger, and it continuously flashes. I don't need to actually move to make it flash like this. It just constantly flashes like this. This is extremely deadly. You basically have access to a full screen laser beam of death that deletes projectiles and starts combos. It wall splats for a really long time. It does a lot of damage in combos, and this is a really, really powerful special move. However, you typically don't want to let it go. Each time you level up Mistfinder, this canceling action becomes faster. So if I try to cancel 5H, right? Like I'll cancel 5H because this is what makes Mistfinder canceling so good. Is any of his special moves, which can be any of his normals, sorry, which can be canceled into specials like 5H. You cancel it and then cancel out, which allows you to essentially return to neutral from anything. Like anything at all that can be canceled into a special, you can cancel that move, which is quite good. But what makes this even better is that as you level it up, this canceling action becomes significantly faster, which means you can see how that comboed? That's a reverse speed combo, technically, because you can't do 5H, 5K. But with the power of miscanceling, you can. Into a combo, right? And that's a hard knockdown. And you can get levels off of his combos too that end in that knockdown state. But this is what Johnny's all about. He's all about these miscancels. So your objective really is to get to level 3, because this gets even better at level 3. It's basically instant. You can buffer it like nobody's business. It's really, really simple to just buffer it. Where if you're doing level 2 and you're trying to miscancel too fast, you'll just let it go. But this, you can do it as fast as you want. Right? So like, you can just go crazy. And this is what makes Johnny so good, is that if I set the CPU to block, and then I get some levels off of, I guess, throwing him, because I'm too lazy. If he's blocking, you can do completely freeform pressure. And his H attacks, especially 6H, crank risk. Look at the bar under his life. See how it's flashing? It'll stop flashing now, but you can cancel these attacks for excessive frame advantage. Because if you look at this, if I just do 6H, right, and I hold FD, he recovers faster than I do by about 7 or 8 frames, somewhere around there. Either way, it's very negative if you don't cancel it. But if you miscancel it, I recover way before he does, which is really, really good. This is what makes Johnny such a threat. He can cancel anything. Any of his moves that can be canceled in specials, even aerials, like aerial attacks. That's a core part of his combos. You're going to do JD, like this, and miscancel it into another JD or another move. So this is what I meant earlier when I said he's extremely freeform. You basically just do whatever you want. You can do any move into any move. Obviously, you know, there are combos that you'll have to learn. And the thing that does make Johnny a bit annoying is that in order to get this knockdown that I'm getting, you're ending in the air with 623K, which is Y-hander, and it's a 2-hit attack. He does a kick and then a projectile. The first initial kick is really, really high hit stun, which means that in very high hit combos, it basically guarantees a hard knockdown. In some extreme situations, it doesn't, but those situations almost never come up. So you have to learn how to combo to get that single hit, because if you don't, it'll look something like this. Well, that's just a drop, but let's see. That was a hard knockdown, which normally it's not going to be that easy, but I guess on Soul it is. But the point is basically you have to get that single hit, which is kind of difficult because they have to be in a specific area. If they're like if you're on the same level as them when you do the move, it's very likely that you'll get that projectile hit and they can tech. But if they are up and above you, like to the top right of you when you do it, you'll probably only get the single hit, which results in a hard knockdown, and that's the core behind Johnny combos. And then you get an OTG level. Now I'm level 3. If he techs and does buttons, you can 6P. 2H is a great media option because it can't be thrown. Meaty, you can do that. This is a combo, by the way. Miscancel 2H into jump kick. It's also overhead if they block it. Right, so these are the basic ways that Johnny combos work. Is that he cranks risk by getting, you know, level 3 and going crazy, and then he hits you, and then he ends on hard knockdown and gets levels off of it, and then he just runs it over again. He's a very, very snowball-y type of character. Once he gets started, it's very hard to make him stop. Now, let's talk about some of his most important buttons. So earlier I mentioned 6H. This is your farthest reaching poke. It can be counter-poked fairly easily, though, if you abuse it. It does have a bad hurtbox on it, but this move is really, really important, especially with miscancels. It does Gaddle from Far Slash, but it's not a combo unless they are crouching. So if I let him crouch here, now that combos. which is important information to know because that's very, very high damage. It will also combo on counter hit, obviously. 2S, one of your farthest reaching low pokes. This is a great move to throw out. It's also something you'll see me do to get OTG coin. Like that. I could have also 2K'd there, but if you're farther, 2S will work. And then you end that with a miss cancel to return to neutral and have frame advantage. It is really, really good, but you got to be careful because if you see he sticks his little hand up when he does it, that's a hurt box. So that can get counter poked by stuff that might go over this. So you have to be cautious. Far Slash is a really good poke for its range and speed. It gaddles into 2S and Far S. But again, gaddlings with Johnny are kind of not super important because you have miss cancels. See, that's a hard knockdown, and then you get to run your pressure. So Johnny also has a step dash. His movement is unique from most other characters. It's kind of similar to Leo, but a bit better, I would say. He has a step dash like this, so once you dash, you're committed to moving forward a fixed distance. You cannot change this. You can jump. You can jump during it. I should say that. So you can actually start a dash and then jump to keep your forward momentum like this, but you can't FD cancel until the end of the move. So that's different from other characters' dashes, and you have to get used to it. But it is really good because it lets you go for throw resets, which are really, really strong in Johnny's kit. I can never get them, though. I always get 6H. But yeah, his step dash is something you'll have to get used to. So we talked about coin, which is a great projectile to throw out. It's very safe, it's hard to punish. If they trade with it, it's always in your favor, which makes round start coin really good. Even though it doesn't do damage, hitting a coin is a huge, huge win because now you have level 2, which means all your damage gets exponentially higher as you go, and then you hit them once and you loop it and you get OTG levels again, and it's very, very difficult to stop Johnny from running you over. And we talked about coin and we talked about Mistfinder, but he has another special move, which is Y-hander, which I've been doing in the air to get that knockdown, but it also has a grounded version where he flips forward like this. You don't have to do the follow-up, but it does have one. This is not a hard knockdown. I guess it is at this range, but this is typically not what you're going to be using it for because it has bad recovery because he pops up like that. However, if you have 25 meter and you can YRC, this becomes incredibly powerful. You essentially cancel it. If you cancel it too late, you'll get a red roaming cancel like that, or a yellow and he'll still pop up. If you do it perfectly, he does not have his momentum change from the initial move, which means he can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Alright, that was a drop, but... So his Y-hander really, really good on the ground because you can do RC if they block it, and then you get a mix-up. Common mix-ups to go for with Johnny. Tiger Knee, S Mistfinder. This is overhead, so they have to block this standing high. It's pretty hard to react to. If I can get it. Right. You don't get much at level 1, but like I said, at level 2, you do actually, I believe you get something in the corner. You do get something there. I'm not super optimal about it. What I typically go for if I already have a level is this super, which is kind of advanced and difficult to explain, but we'll go into overdrive soon because we're almost done with the special moves. So Johnny's all about maintaining his coins, which you only get 8 of, and managing his levels, appropriately miscanceling to abuse your improved frame advantage and frame data. Crank risk, get a throw or a hit, and then you blow them up and you loop them over and over and over again, and you just run people over. It's really, really easy with this character to get a single hit and spiral it out of control into like very, very broken setups. Johnny has another move, which we haven't spoken about, which is Bacchus Sai. This is the Mist. What this is he will let mist come out of his katana. It will go forward a little bit, not very far as you saw. If it touches the opponent, it sticks to them for an amount of time. It's like a decent amount of time. As you can see, it's still on him all this time. And while that's on them, they cannot block Mistfinder. It causes him to stagger and he takes damage. This is typically not that good, but in checkmate situations where the next hit will kill them, like, let me see if I can set this up here. Let's give him 25 health. Okay, he's not blocking. Right, so now the mist is being set up. And we'll set him to block everything. Right? He reset his health, but that's the general idea, is that when they get to low HP, you can use meter, either 25 if you YRC it, but you have less time to do something, or you directly RC this Y-hander, knockdown, fall, and do the mist, and then you have a lot of time to meaty them with these coins. This is like DP safe, so you're basically ensuring that they have to block when they wake up, and then you make them block something into Mistfinder, and then they get unblockable, and you can actually combo for a little bit of damage, so it does have utility in those checkmate last hit situations, but you typically will not be using it outside of that. Let me just make sure that I am not forgetting any of Johnny's moves before we go into his supers. I'm pretty sure that I'm not. Yeah. So, I didn't speak about 6K, this is a command normal. I don't believe it low crushes or high crushes like it used to. In other games, like, he doesn't really shrink his vertical hurt box to go under stuff as much, but this is relatively safe, I believe. Let me actually check the frame data here. It's -1, which is not great, but you know, you can backdash. You're not punishable, but it is their turn. This is a move used in combos a lot. It's a good move to just suddenly get in and hit them. Some people, it's hard to react to this because it's 16 frame startup. Moves really far, has great distance. If people are trying to react to your like 2S and your 6Hs, throwing this out sometimes is really, really good. And it's also untechable on counter hit, which gives you a lot of time to do whatever you want.